Hello, this is Julia from Just One More Card, and today I have another video for you showing how you can use colored backgrounds to show through die cuts on your card. This is the card for the Color Me Challenge blog. I'm on the design team there, and these are the supplies we're going to use. Several stamp sets, dies, and inks. I don't have Stampin' Up! Inks, so I'm using these as a replacement. The soft granite I'll be using instead of the smoky slate. That's smoky slate is the Stampin' Up! Color, soft granite is a Hero Art Shadow ink. This is Avery Elle Aquamarine pigment ink, which I'll be using instead of the Lost Lagoon. And this is Island Indigo cardstock from Stampin' Up! And it has this really beautiful texture that I think gives every card something special. We'll be using an A2 card base and the Femme Frames by Mama Elephant. I use this every time now. The hand-lettered Hello from W+9. We'll be using a sentiment stamp and this die. And then the Fancy Feathers by Clearly Besotted Stamps. And the dies that come with the stamp set, they have to be purchased separately, but they go together. And first of all, we are going to cut out our one of our panels for the card, and I'm going to be using the bigger one of the two Femme Frame dies, and that one gives a beautiful scalloped edge. And I think it's like using those two dies together. I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised how much I've been using this die set. It's quickly become my favorite go-to die set for creating cards. You know, it's just two little aspects, but it adds so much to a card. You can see how really nice it looks once you've cut it out. And now we're going to do the same on a scrap piece of white cardstock. And this is the smaller one of the two Femme Frame dies. And once you've cut it out, I've used my Big Shot by Sizzix. You can see this beautiful stitch border that the die applies. Next up, I'm trying to figure out where to place the other two dies. I'll be cutting from this panel. One is the Clearly Besotted Feathers die, and the other one is the Hello die by W+9. And I'm going to run this through my Big Shot twice, separately of course. And here you can see how it looks like. And I'll be saving all those tiny little things from the Hello, you know, where the loops are, because I'll be needing that later on. I have stamped now two of the feathers from the Clearly Besotted stamp set in two different inks because I wasn't sure which one of the two I was going to use, or which combination I was going to use. So I was just, you know, that's just how I decided to go. And I've die cut the shape of the feathers from just regular copy paper, and now I'm lining this copy paper up with the actual stamp. And this will help me to place my die. I learned this trick from Michelle Short. Her blog is The Card Grotto, and she showed this on a YouTube video once, and this is just awesome. You just nudge the die until it fits into the space you've just cut out. You can feel it when it doesn't you know, move around anymore. And so you get this beautiful border around all the dies, even if the dies are solid and you can't really see where the stamp is. So I'm adhering the Island Indigo cardstock to my card base now, and putting my like the grid on my work surface here to good use, because I mess this up all the time if I don't have something to, you know, guide me. And then, you know, I have lots of white space on one side. I have to trim down the card because I don't want to throw it away. So using the grid lines here. Next up, I'll be adding foam tape to the back of my second panel, and I've used quite a lot of foam tape here behind the sentiment because I wanted to make sure that it was firm and wasn't moving around too much. So I've added this now, and now I started to play around with the feathers, and I actually did this for about 10 minutes. I was trying to figure out how to fit this in because, of course, you know, these are the two other challenge colors that I need to use. But it just covered up too much of the big feather, you know, it just looked weird to me, and I tried to put this there, then I moved it over to the other side, you know, thinking that of course it would look better over there for some reason. Then I moved it back and started to stack it in a different way, and well, to add insult to injury, what happened was my camera died, so you didn't see me stamp the big feather simply onto the second panel. It was a bit risky. I could have messed this up like a lot, but I think the gods and the pantheon of crafting were so amused by my fiddling around with the die cuts that they just, made this work for me. And I've decided to use the smaller one of the stamps, or die cut feathers, and just layer it there. Then you still have some dimension, you have the 3 colors, but you don't cover up too much of the big feather, which really should shine on this card. At least that's how I feel. So now I still had to adhere all the tiny little thingies here into the die cut, and thank God that I used multi-medium matte, because you will not see all this mess once it dries. And then I stamped the sentiment in the inside of the card. And I fiddled around with the sequins for quite a while until I just said, you know what, let's just make it really random. And I sprinkled them onto the card and then started to arrange them a little bit, better. And then once again used the multi-medium matte to adhere them to the card and the card base. So that's the card for today. It has a little bit of shine thanks to the Pretty Pink Parch sequins. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it gives you some ideas how to use your colored cardstock and your dies. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, or visit me at my blog. Thanks for watching. Bye!